Conscious Creation with Cassandra. Good morning. I'm really excited to talk about this topic as it is the fundamental of what we believe. So fundamentally, if you were to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, do I believe that I live in a good universe or a bad universe? Do I think that there's more good or more bad? I come from a standpoint that the universe is good. I also believe that the universe is working with me to achieve whatever it is that I put my energy into. Tangent, if you put your energy into thinking about the same thing over and over again, that same thing is going to become over and over and over again. That's just a little tangent. We'll discuss that in another video. Essentially, that which you put your energy into is what becomes, is what is, because you're putting your energy into it. So if I'm putting my energy into something that happened in the past, it'll become in the present and in the future because that's where my energy is. It's in that whatever state I'm thinking about from the past, I'm going to perpetuate that state. Or I'm thinking in the future about something I'm trying to accomplish, and I put all my energy into thinking about this thing that I'm trying to accomplish. So your first decision or understanding of yourself and how you see the world is, do I live in a positive universe or a negative universe? And then you could correlate that to the world. Is this a good world or a bad world? You then experience happenstances. You experience things around you, circumstances, whatever it be. You experience the world around you. Whether they impact you or they don't impact you, they have to do with you, they don't have to do with you. You go about your life experiencing the world around you. From my standpoint of this is a beautiful, positive universe where we are the creators of our realities using our brain. I know, and by I know I mean this is what resonates with my belief that the earth and the universe are positive places. I know that these circumstances, these happenstances that occur around me have neither a positive nor a negative impression on it. When something occurs, it's not like, oh, something bad happened, oh, something good happened. It's our interpretation that makes it bad or good. The event itself does not have a positive or negative. It just happened. It just occurred. We as human beings need to assign labels and need to understand and compartmentalize things. So we, based off of our perspective, that's a big thing, based off of whatever perspective we have, we define whether or not the happenstance is a positive or a negative thing. So this is relative because everybody has different perspectives. So you take the same event and you tell or you show it, because telling also is relative. We could all tell things a certain way to inflict certain emotions. So let's just say we have 500 people watching the same exact stimuli, and every single person is going to walk away with a different interpretation of the stimuli. Same is true with happenstances. Whatever occurs inherently does not have a positive or negative label attached to it. It's our perspective that gives it the label. Of course, there are tragic things that could happen. We could all define it as tragic, but I'm sure there's somebody that's seeing some positive in the tragedy. So it's all relative, this level of positivity and negativity. And how we interpret the circumstances and situations around us is all relative to our programming, to how our brain works. So we interpret every event that occurs or every happenstance around us, every circumstance around us, however we interpret it based off of our past. So what does this mean? Because it's all relative, everybody's going to see something a little bit differently and have different opinions as to what took place. Different interpretation, different reaction, different everything regarding this event. So with spiritual enlightenment and spiritual growth, we come to understand that when something occurs around us, it's just a thing that happens. And we can assign a meaning to the happenstance by saying it's positive or negative, saying it was happy, sad, saying it was beautiful or destructive. However we interpret it, we can assign a meaning to the event. And then every time we reference the event, we reignite that meaning. We live that, we feel that meaning of the event. So, if something, you try to think of a neutral example here. Okay. A bird flew into a car's windshield. The car veered off and hit a tree, and the car was totaled. There's many ways of looking at this. There's many ways of interpreting it, both positive and negative. There's many ways to walk out of it. Let's say you're the person behind the wheel. What interpretation, where would your mind go? What would be the first things that you'd be thinking about or asking yourself? What would be your experience if you were behind the wheel and a bird hit your windshield, which caused you to veer, which caused you to hit a tree? What questions would you be asking yourself or asking in this scenario? What would be your next steps? What meaning would you give this scenario? I would say a common meaning / reaction to this scenario would be, oh, this is bad, my car is totaled. This is bad for whatever reason. This was a bad event. So every time you think back to the day that a bird flew into your windshield and you veered and you hit a tree, you're going to think back to it's bad. You know, you had to get a new car, you had to go to the doctor, make sure you're okay. And so every time you look back at the day of you veering and hitting a tree, you're going to associate that event as something negative and emotionally re-feel that negativity. However, there's another interpretation and another interpretation. There's endless interpretations of that event. Another interpretation of the event is, am I okay? Okay, I'm okay. Phew. Is the car okay? No, the car is not okay. It's totaled. Oh, okay. That sucks. But I need to get a new car anyway, so it's just great timing. Is the bird okay? The bird's okay. Okay, awesome. This literally worked out the most perfectly way this could have worked out. So to person B, the happenstance was a happenstance to which they assigned the meaning of, okay, I'm getting a new car. So when they look back at this event, they're not going to see the same negativity as person A. They're going to have a different story in their mind. They're going to have a different meaning to the event that occurred. And that meaning might be, I almost died, but I didn't. Or I got a new car after that. Or this crazy story, this bird hit my windshield and caused me to veer to hit a tree. But the tree is fine, I'm fine, the car not so much. So these two people have very different interpretations of the event, the neutral event. The event is neutral, it doesn't have a positive or negative associated to it. It's whatever we assign to it. So person A assigned that this is devastating, this is bad. Person B defined it as, this has happened, I get a new car out of it. It's inconvenient, but it's not the end of the world. So you can even see just verbally how different these two thought processes are and what meaning this holds down the line for these two people. The reason I gave you this scenario and these two different interpretations, because in spiritual growth and development, we try to get more towards person B, where we don't react, we're not reactive, we don't assign meaning to it, we just accept the happenstance as it is, as it was, without giving it any label. And the reason that I feel this is important to share is because of how much peace it gave me to go from person A to person B. A happenstance is a happenstance is a happenstance. Whatever occurs around me very rarely has to do with me. And I get to interpret how I see the world around me and how I see the events that occur in front of me or that I'm involved in. And I can give them meaning. But I have found that when I don't assign meaning to an occurrence, it doesn't bother me as much down the line. Because it's just a thing that happened. It's not a positive thing that happened. It's not a negative thing that happened. It just happened and it is what it is. And I'm not attaching a meaning to it. The moment we attach a meaning to it, that's when the event has emotional significance. Then we think about it and we react. We remember the emotion and we feel the emotion again. So that could really beat into us. If person A is remembering it every single day for the next 5 years, that's trauma. That's not being able to process it. They feel emotionally the same way they did when it first happened. Then you have person B, who drives around their new car, that is grateful that they didn't die, and they feel completely different. They feel a lot more lighter and at peace. Because essentially it's just something that happened. Now we have opportunities all the time to attach meaning to whatever's happening around us. But if we practice not attaching a meaning to it, just it is what it is, everything's fine, then we're not bogged down by those experiences. We're not reliving those emotions. You just move on and carry on. In the beginning, I asked whether or not you believe you live in a positive universe or a negative universe. And the reason I brought up this question and then followed it up with the universe is working in tandem with you to get you what you want. And the reason I said this is because I believe that every experience, every happenstance, every circumstance around you, everything that you experience is actually strategically placed there so that you can learn and grow from whatever it is that you experience to become the person that you need to be to get whatever it is that you want. So the thing that you want is already out there. You just have to energetically match to it. And in order to be that person that energetically matches to whatever it is that you want, you have to evolve yourself. And I believe that the universe puts things in front of us that we experience so that we could, in micro lessons, learn and evolve and become different versions of ourselves. And eventually, when we learn and evolve enough, or are willing to learn and evolve enough from the situations, circumstances around us, we evolve to the point where whatever it is, we're that person that could handle or be the person that we wanted to be because we have grown so much throughout time. So even though something you might interpret as bad, as a circumstance or happenstance around you, you might interpret it as a quote unquote bad experience. I'm sure if you were to look in there, you could find something that you learned about yourself, of the world around you, that you learned, something that you could take away, or seeing like, why did this happen? Or what in here, where's the lesson in here? What could I take away from this? And some things, it might take 10 years, 20 years to realize, oh, that's why that happened 20 years ago. So that I can be prepared in this moment here. I already went through the training to be here today and be able to go about this the way that I want to and have my desired outcome. So essentially, not to give meaning to things. It is what it is. And that will help your lives be peaceful. And I hope it helps. Bye-bye.